Have you ever felt like you're navigating life with a flickering candle in a hurricane? That inner flame, your faith, feels fragile, threatened by every gust of disappointment, every shadow of doubt. It's okay. We all have those moments where the path ahead blurs, and the strength we thought we possessed seems to evaporate. This isn't about grand pronouncements or instant transformations. It's about the quiet, persistent work of tending to that inner light, especially when it feels like it's about to go out. Maybe you're facing a challenge that seems insurmountable, a loss that cuts deeper than you ever imagined, or simply the weariness of a long, uphill climb. Perhaps the promises you once held dear now feel like distant echoes, and the future you envisioned seems impossibly out of reach. The world throws its weight around, and sometimes, faith feels like the first casualty. It's easy to feel lost, adrift in a sea of uncertainty, questioning everything you once believed. This isn't a lecture from the mountaintop. It's a hand reaching out in the valley. We're not here to judge the weakness of your faith, but to understand its vulnerability. To acknowledge that doubt, fear, and disillusionment are as much a part of the human experience as hope and joy. The journey isn't about eliminating these feelings, but learning to navigate them, to find solid ground even when the earth beneath you feels like it's crumbling. Think of your faith not as a rigid structure, but as a living, breathing thing, capable of growth, adaptation, and even periods of dormancy. It's not about unwavering certainty, but about the willingness to keep seeking, keep questioning, keep believing even when you can't see the whole picture. It's about finding the strength to take the next step, even when you don't know where it will lead. We often mistake faith for an absence of doubt, a constant state of unwavering conviction. But true faith, the kind that sustains us through the darkest times, is often forged in the fires of uncertainty. It's about choosing to believe, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust that there is still light to be found, even in the deepest shadows. This video is an invitation to explore that inner landscape, to understand the forces that erode your faith, and to discover the tools you need to rebuild it, brick by brick, into something stronger and more resilient than before. This isn't about providing easy answers or quick fixes. It's about offering a compass, not a map. A hand to hold, not a solution to every problem. It's about reminding you that you are not alone in this struggle, that your doubts do not define you, and that even the faintest spark of faith can be rekindled into a roaring flame. We'll explore the roots of doubt, the power of self-compassion, and the practical steps you can take to cultivate a stronger, more resilient sense of belief, one that can weather any storm. Because even in the darkest night, the stars are still there, waiting to be seen. Let's delve into the subtle yet powerful ways our minds can inadvertently sabotage our faith. Often, the erosion isn't a sudden cataclysm, but a slow, insidious seepage of negative thought patterns. Think of it like rust on a once gleaming tool. Left unattended, it weakens the entire structure. Cognitive distortions, those sneaky thought traps, play a significant role. For instance, catastrophizing, where we blow situations out of proportion and imagine the worst possible outcome, can make challenges appear insurmountable, draining our belief in a positive resolution. Similarly, personalization, taking undue blame for events beyond our control, can foster feelings of worthlessness, undermining our faith in our own capabilities and inherent goodness. Consider the story of a young musician, Anya, who dreamed of playing in the city orchestra. After several auditions, she faced repeated rejections. Instead of viewing these as learning opportunities or simply a matter of finding the right fit, Anya fell into the trap of personalization. She convinced herself that she lacked talent, that her years of practice were worthless, and that her dream was fundamentally unattainable. This negative self-talk, fueled by personalization, eroded her faith in her abilities and ultimately led her to abandon her musical aspirations, a tragic loss fueled by a distorted perception of reality. Building on this, however, it's crucial to recognize how societal narratives can also shape our faith. We live in a world saturated with messages that often prioritize material success, instant gratification, and individual achievement. When our lives don't align with these idealized images, it can trigger feelings of inadequacy and doubt, not only in ourselves but also in the broader framework of our beliefs. The constant barrage of curated perfection on social media, for example, can create a distorted sense of reality, leading us to question the value of our own imperfect journeys. Another crucial layer is understanding the impact of past traumas on our current faith. Unresolved emotional wounds can create deep-seated beliefs about ourselves, the world, and our place in it. If we've experienced betrayal, abandonment, or abuse, It can be difficult to trust, to believe in goodness, or to have faith in a benevolent universe. These experiences can leave us feeling vulnerable and guarded, making it challenging to open ourselves to the possibility of hope and healing. In contrast to external influences, sometimes the greatest obstacle to our faith resides within our own resistance to vulnerability. We may cling to rigid beliefs or control mechanisms as a way to protect ourselves from the pain of uncertainty. But true faith often requires a willingness to let go, to surrender to the unknown, and to trust that even in the midst of chaos, there is a deeper order at play. This can be incredibly challenging, especially when we've been hurt in the past, but it's essential for fostering a resilient and authentic sense of belief. Now, consider how this applies when you face setbacks or disappointments. Are you quick to blame yourself, to catastrophize the situation, or to compare yourself to others? Are you holding on to rigid expectations that prevent you from embracing the unexpected twists and turns of life? By becoming aware of these cognitive distortions, societal pressures, and unresolved traumas, you can begin to challenge their power and reclaim your faith in yourself, in your potential, and in the possibility of a brighter future. Reflecting on this journey so far, it's clear that cultivating faith isn't about constructing an impregnable fortress against doubt, but rather about nurturing a resilient garden within. A garden where seeds of belief can take root, even amidst the inevitable storms of life. The essence lies not in the absence of weeds, those nagging insecurities and fears, but in the consistent tending, the patient weeding, and the deliberate cultivation of fertile ground. We begin to see that faith isn't a static entity, but a dynamic process, a continuous dance between certainty and uncertainty, strength and vulnerability. It's akin to navigating a ship at sea. The compass, representing our core values and beliefs, provides direction, but the winds and currents, symbolizing life's unpredictable challenges, constantly test our course. The skill lies not in eliminating the turbulence, but in adjusting our sails, in adapting our strategies, and in maintaining a steady hand on the helm, even when the horizon seems distant and obscured. This adaptability, this willingness to navigate the complexities of the inner and outer world, becomes the cornerstone of enduring faith. Drawing these strands together, we see that the strength of our belief is inextricably linked to our capacity for self-compassion. It's about extending the same grace and understanding to ourselves that we would offer to a dear friend struggling with similar challenges. Recognizing our imperfections, acknowledging our vulnerabilities, and embracing our humanness becomes not a weakness, but a source of profound strength. For it is in these moments of self-acceptance that we discover the resilience to rise again, to reaffirm our commitment to hope, and to continue on our chosen path, even when the way ahead seems fraught with obstacles. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes clearer. It is a path paved with intention, self-awareness, and a deep commitment to personal growth. It requires us to become active participants in our own lives, to challenge limiting beliefs, to cultivate positive thought patterns, and to nurture our inner resources. It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our own realities, to choose hope over despair, and to create a life that is aligned with our deepest values and aspirations. As we pivot towards the final reflection, consider the cumulative effect of these insights. They converge to reveal a powerful truth, that faith is not a gift bestowed upon us, but a skill cultivated within us. It's a practice, a discipline, a continuous process of learning, growing, and evolving. And like any skill, it requires consistent effort, unwavering dedication, and a willingness to embrace the inevitable challenges that come with the territory. The journey isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. For in the end, it is our faith that sustains us, that guides us, and that empowers us to live lives of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. So, where does this leave us, standing here at the edge of understanding, gazing back at the path we've traversed? It leaves us, I believe, with a renewed sense of agency, a quiet but resolute understanding that the flickering flame of faith is not extinguished by the winds of adversity, but tempered and strengthened by them. It leaves us not with a fixed destination in sight, but with a compass firmly in hand, ready to navigate the uncharted waters of our lives with courage and compassion. The journey of faith, it turns out, is less about unwavering certainty and more about cultivating a deep and abiding trust in the process itself. It's about recognizing that doubt and uncertainty are not enemies to be vanquished, but rather integral parts of the human experience, opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. It's about embracing the paradox of faith, the ability to hold on to hope even when the evidence seems to suggest otherwise, to believe in the unseen even when the visible world offers only shadows. And perhaps the most profound insight of all is that faith is not something we possess, but something we embody. It's not a doctrine to be memorized, but a way of being in the world. It's about living our lives with integrity, kindness, and a deep sense of purpose, even when faced with challenges and setbacks. It's about extending compassion to ourselves and others, recognizing that we are all imperfect beings striving to make our way through a complex and often confusing world. The true practice begins now, not in grand gestures or dramatic pronouncements, but in the small, everyday choices we make. It's about choosing to cultivate gratitude even in the face of adversity, to seek out beauty and meaning in the ordinary moments of life, and to connect with others in a spirit of empathy and understanding. It's about tending to that inner garden, weeding out the negative thoughts and beliefs that hold us back, and planting seeds of hope, resilience, and self-compassion. This isn't a passive endeavor. It requires conscious effort, unwavering dedication, and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. It means challenging our assumptions, questioning our beliefs, and embracing the discomfort of uncertainty. It means being willing to be vulnerable, to admit our fears and insecurities, and to ask for help when we need it. The path of faith is not a solitary one. We are all interconnected, part of a larger web of humanity, and we can draw strength and support from one another. By sharing our stories, our struggles, and our triumphs, we can create a community of faith that transcends boundaries and unites us in a shared sense of purpose. So, go forth with courage and compassion, knowing that you are not alone on this journey. Embrace the challenges, celebrate the triumphs, and never lose sight of the flickering flame of faith that burns within you. For it is in that flame that you will find the strength to overcome any obstacle, to navigate any storm, and to live a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Remember, the light you carry, however small it may seem at times, has the power to illuminate the world.